Productivity has become the new religion of our time. We worship at the altar of efficiency. We confess our sins of procrastination. And we seek salvation through endless hustle. Work harder, for longer, or else. This is not sustainable and has its consequences. By placing productivity at the center of our lives, we have created a world where doing nothing feels like moral failure, where rest has to be justified, or where even our hobbies demand metrics and objectives. It's not that what we're told about productivity is wrong, it's backwards. It's not about doing more, it's about understanding what really matters.
Don't you know I need you, baby? Need you by my side.
If I connect what I think of myself to my productivity, I will never rate myself highly. There will always be more things to do, more ways to optimize. I'm literally climbing a mountain that has no summit.
When I impose a series of things to do on myself and I don't manage to do them all, I automatically become a failure. I have connected who I am to what I produce. This pressure imposed by hustle culture is really a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can lead us to great achievements, that's undisputable. But it's also the biggest driver of our stress levels, and this isn't something we should take lightly. Stress is directly related to a worsening of your physical and mental health, higher risk of cardiovascular problems, higher risk of stroke, lower life expectancy and accelerated aging. But that doesn't really matter, does it? Because you're locking in. And the reason this is so relevant right now is because today's thought leaders are no longer academics or philosophers. Instead, they are salesmen, entrepreneurs and marketing corporations. They find where it hurts and sell you the solution, which is always surprisingly similar. Personally, I'm not a hater of this type of people or content. I think they were inevitable, and I'm sure they've had an impact on many people's lives. But for the vast majority, it's nothing more than mental masturbation and a sense of inadequacy. Oh, by the way, you can choose not to want $1 million company, and that's okay.
And what happens when you combine this sense of inadequacy that predominates in your life with the narrative that you have to work harder? The result is long periods of unrelenting stress, also known as burnout. A myth for them, but a cause of depression, insomnia, loss of appetite and suicidal tendencies for others. We sacrifice meals for meetings, relationships for results, sleep for that always elusive sense of achievement. And when we finally collapse at the end of the day, we feel guilty for needing rest. It has become a luxury, something that must be earned, instead of one of the most important needs of our body. Not resting may give us material rewards, and therefore a sense of having achieved something. But it won't reward us where it really matters, which is in how we feel. The worst part is that all this narrative about rest hasn't escaped the world of productivity, turning rest into yet another tool to be more productive, instead of a ritual of respect for our body. An objective is given to a physiological need. We no longer rest because we feel like it. We rest to produce more. Is this really resting? I have my doubts.
So what are you supposed to do then? Not work hard? It's not a possibility for most people. Working hard is inherently a good thing, but measuring your productivity and associating it with your worth as a person is not. Especially when you don't have your own definition of what productivity is in the first place, but an imposed one, what your environment understands as productive. What if productivity was measured by how good we feel, instead of how much we produce? I'm sure many extremely successful people wouldn't be very productive in that world. Spending long hours at work to earn more money shouldn't count as being productive if you chronically feel like shit. I think your hobbies, your periods of doing nothing, the time you spend with family and friends can actually be the most productive. Taking an hour off to go into nature isn't being unproductive, it's investing in your humanity. Reading literature, poetry or fiction instead of self-help isn't a waste of time, it feeds your soul.
Personally, if you ask me, what you're seeing here is one of the reasons that drive my productivity. I try to stay productive so this isn't taken away from me. I've got some definition of what I consider important, so that I'm not trying to meet some random levels of productivity that are not aligned with it. I can have an idea of how productive I need to be to get what I want. Even though I have really high expectations of myself, I feel great relief when I don't chase goals that in essence never had anything to do with me and with what I am.
I know many of us feel like time spent on things we can call recreational is a waste of time if it's not used to build something that is bigger. This comes from someone who has literally prostituted each and every aspect of his life and suffered the consequences. I turned all those spaces that were once fun into simply another form of employment. I fell into the narrative of making your passion your job. On paper it kinda sounds good, but when your hobby becomes your job, you realise that suddenly you need a new hobby to have a little balance in your life. And this isn't a complaint. Most jobs are worse than this one. It's proof of the importance of having spaces where it's not necessary to be productive. Things that simply feel good to do without having a trajectory, an objective beyond existing with it. When we turn these spaces into new areas in which to be productive, we can no longer afford to suck at them, which was literally what gave us a break from our daily pressure. Areas in our life where not being the best doesn't really matter. If it's work, you better produce. You have to be good at it. But I'm aware that simply enjoying something has become a privilege. The world has demands and gives us the feeling that if we're not monetizing all of our skills, we're going to fall behind because everyone else is doing it. That we have to be extra productive or we won't be able to achieve things as essential as having a bloody house. But at what price? Why and for who? Those are the questions we have to ask ourselves.
It's not often the wind should speak. You should listen.
Knowing what you want is a great liberation, but it's not a simple exercise. It's necessary to shed all external influence and be brutally honest with oneself. If this exercise isn't done, we will adopt and pursue the popular narrative of the moment, and we will pay with what is truly most invaluable to us, when perhaps getting what we really want might be much simpler to achieve than what we're actually pursuing. Not wanting something is just as good as having it.
I was at the side of my bed.